Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I, man, here from the Block Runner MetaZone, Roby and Mscribe, and today we're going to be talking about some crypto trench warfare.
That's right. Not to be confused with
World War I or II.
Yeah.
Or drone strikes.
Or modern day wars. They still got trenches, you know.
They do, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we just caught word of a very tactical new
Ukraine drone strike.
Yeah. Which is, so look that up on your own time, lads. Very inspiring stuff for like the progression of warfare. But we're talking about the progression of these capital markets, I guess more specifically internet capital markets. So we're struggling like trying to figure out how to best utilize that new Buzz acronym because to our understanding, it was coined by like the Believe ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even the founder himself. I don't know, but the ideation around it is let's weaponize the superpower of fee value accrual from within these capital markets that we're deploying on like Solana or Base or whatever.
Yeah.
For some good, outside of just supporting a native platform. Like let's redirect some of this value to creators or developers so they can output, leverage that to output some new valuable stuff. Right.
Yeah. And as a result, we're seeing a ton of experimentation. And I feel like this is just the beginning.
Yeah. I think the market is catching on to this trend. It's just a collective understanding that the fees can be weaponized for many different vertical attempts. Right. Like,
yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have to be to support creators. Right. It could be to support even more gambling. Right. Which we're about to talk about.
Right.
Or in other cases, it could be redirected to support social engagement.
Yeah.
And as the experimental outcome of that, will it be like more successful tokens or not? So
yeah,
we talked about that last week with Loudio. That was the big hype in the room. If you guys were on Twitter at all last week, you probably heard something about it. It had like 80% mind share at one point.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like this instant 1 billion market cap runner. Did it happen? Let's take a look.
All right. So, yeah, like you were saying last week, we were talking about stay loud.
Yeah.
So, remember, this is rewards distributed to top mindshare contributors weekly forever. And so let's see how well it did. And here's the chart.
Yeah, that doesn't look like the chart of an instant billion runner, right?
At least not yet.
That's true. It's all you always don't want to like just throw things like out the window, but it is pretty hard to overcome like so much pre-hype and then like a disappointment at launch. And we're gonna kind of like go into some of the theories around why this thing failed, right?
Yeah. So let's kind of read through this. So if there's one thing Loud has taught us, it's the attention alone is not enough. People need something to hold on or believe into, a product, utility, or even a cult. That's why I'm so in love with communities like SPX. Even when the charts are down, the community always shows up, the grind. So attention doesn't guarantee success. Give us something to believe in. So,
yeah, that was the project tagline, right? Like attention is all you need. That was the experiment at hand. So it was like Kaido and Cookie and other like InfoFi aggregators, data aggregators, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they supplied the fuel for that.
Yeah. The infrastructure to kind of put these experiments to test. And, some people made that assumption. Like, if you just redirect the fees that are being generated from trading volume to people who are persistently encouraging the perception of value, at least in the social sphere.
Correct, yeah.
Basically direct compensation. Go back to the dashboard. Let's see how much the yappers were actually earning because they added that. Earnings over here?
So Ultra, Mindshare, and earnings, 254 SOL, 40 grand.
Not bad, dude. That's a pretty good week of work right there. You put in like a week of yapping into this thing and you made 40 grand. Number 2, Wind Moon, 21 grand.
21, 16, 15, 13. That's a solid get.
Pretty much all the top 10 made, what is that, 5 figures?
Yeah.
Actually, almost the top 20. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
The top 25 here almost all made 5 figures. 4 to 5 figures.
Yeah. So this is, if you remember, this only top 25 get the allocation.
Yeah. So what was happening here? So the Loud token itself, they pushing some boundaries here, right? It's typically you don't expect when you're swapping a token for fees to be something above beyond like 1%.
Yeah.
Typically it's much lower than 1%. But as these new experimental vectors are coming in, they're slowly, incrementally increasing the notch of fee here. So this one was 4%.
That's right.
Which is pretty heavy, right? But that 4% fee on the buy and sells of this token was the fuel to this experiment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's take a little closer deep dive into what's happening here. So sniper analysis on Loud. In the first minute, 14% of the supply was bought, roughly 193 SOL, the way that this individual did it. They filtered for the 1 minute, the first minute of the launch, and they just added everything. It says the top trader bought in the second minute 5% of the supply with 168 SOL. And with anti-sniper measures, so using Meteor's DAM V2, that the fees went from 50%, which is like extremely high fees, to 4% within a minute. And
so does it trickle down like by second within that minute?
It does.
Time frame? Okay.
Yeah. So here's what the chart looks like.
Okay, literally just
it ratchets it down to 4%.
So do we know? So at some point within that first minute, like these snipers didn't care, right? They were paying.
Yeah, they didn't care. And yeah, if you look at the chart,
well, that's why, because it instantly shot it up to 20 million,
and then it went down
because they were selling.
The snipers were selling. So yeah, this is red candles here. That's the sniper selling.
Yeah, man. What a god damn it. That's very annoying. This
It
is
is.
very persistent problem here.
And there is no clear solution other than just like maintaining high fees for a little longer duration to make it like less palpable for a sniper to really buy in.
Yeah. But no, yeah, and so this is even worse so on like these types of pre-sale designs, because it brings along with the expectation for the snipers that this thing has like so much pre-hype around it. So like
yeah, and then not only that, everyone in the pre-hype, it's just a bunch of sell pressure.
Yeah, because nobody really got in.
In the pre-sale, I should say, not pre-hype.
Right. Yeah, because they got in super low valuation, and they got an instant 100x essentially. So even though like it didn't perform as people imaginations like took them to those realms, still like everybody who participated, I think, is still basically up.
Yeah. But the suggestion here is to not do pre-sales, instead just do it organically.
Yeah.
And so they're calling pump.fun more organic because Alice gets a 10x at a different point than Bob gets a 10x. And so now you have more of like a natural chart.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Adding too much pre-hype pressure to a thing, like I think it sets it up for number go down technology.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just like adds too much, it's like a physics thing. Now there's like the ceiling to penetrate to get back to new all-time highs. There's just that much more pressure over your head, right? So you want things to be like literally at zero and then just launch these things. That way it's like for the snipers, it's like harder to determine which of these things I should like over allocate to.
Yeah.
Like this was like super obvious, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
70% mind share, like you were saying.
Yeah. I was like, dude, of course, even with a 50% like snipe, I'm going to be in the money at some point.
Yeah. So, like you were saying, 4%, kind of high.
Yeah.
Right? So someone decided to do something about it.
Yeah, this is another component that I guess like led to this token bleeding.
Yeah. So here's the pool with about $800,000 in liquidity. This is the pool that contains the 4% fees. Well, someone created a different pool that had 0.2% fees.
Yeah, essentially completely undercut like the entire lifeblood of the experiment, right? Meaning like yappers were no longer being compensated for their contribution.
Yeah, I want to make a correction. So these numbers here are the volume within that pool.
Yes.
Right, $800,000 in volume, and the pool with 0.2% created by some random person had a volume of 3.7 million.
Yeah, way out. So imagine, had this not happened, that green pool would have had collectively around 4 to 5 million in volume at the time of that snapshot, right? So, I mean, that's good. That means that leaderboard that we looked at, those yappers would have made 6 figures.
That's right.
They would have been very happy.
Yeah.
Right? Much more happy.
And much more sustainable ecosystem.
Yeah, and probably yapping more aggressively, and then the experiment probably would have had some more viability, right?
Yeah. So this is what it looks like. So Loud created a pool where the fees are 4%, but someone created a pool of near 0.2 fees, and so this is where the trading is happening.
That was on Raydium?
And that was on Raydium, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, why this happened, was it just, like, some trader trying to, like, just create more optimal trading experience for himself and maybe his, like, cluster of homies that are just trying to capitalize on the hype?
Yeah.
And, like, experience the upside growth but without having to pay this, fee?
Yeah.
Or was this, like, a direct, like, fuck you in your experiment, I know how to game this thing and, like, topple it completely?
Yeah, so let's take a look. I think it's more a grief attack than anything, because the pool that was generated by Loud, they had a liquidity pool of 1.3 million.
Good liquidity.
And the other pool that had 0.2% only has 189,000. So that means that if you're swapping tokens in this pool, your slippage is higher depending on how much you're actually spending. But look at the volume. Like, people don't care about slippage.
Yeah.
Right?
It's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
So it's probably, I wonder if people just didn't know, like, they were trading in the wrong pool, potentially?
It's potentially they didn't know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the numbers are so drastically different.
Yeah, and there's several other pools here.
Yeah.
One of them with even higher fee percent, and that one didn't do bad.
No.
It's just, I think people just, like, are easily duped when you, like, spin up too many mirrored pools.
Yeah.
It's really hard to know which one's which, and just liquidity just bifurcates.
I feel like Deck Screener needs to do a better job on, like, check marking some of this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they work with Meteora already. It's like I guess all of these are Meteora pools, so
yeah, I guess
it's hard to know which one's the right one.
Yeah, so it's a question of maybe, so you just identified an infra player that could step in to do something to kind of, curtail some of these
because
occurrences.
If these experiments are to play out, they need to be played out properly. Fairly, just for the science of it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so there's still some infra dilemmas. As much as we're discovering, like, Solana has, like, some pretty good maturity to it and, like, some really good tools for, these types of experiments to even play out in the first place. Still, it's not like a completed...
No, it's no slam dunk.
Not yet, which is good for all of us, because to me, that signals indications of still being early in the market, right? Like, once these infra rails are even better than they are today to support more iterative product experimentation, because at some point we're going to hit another pump.fun, right? Something that's
something that sticks.
Wildly successful and potentially could bring retail back into our industry, right?
Yeah, let's hope.
Fingers crossed, guys. But yeah, this is so this one also expands on the Kaido aspect, where the algorithm of Kaido itself didn't necessarily, it filtered out like the actual contributors.
The guys that you want to, like, encourage, incentivize, weren't the guys that were actually...
They were more getting punished.
They were getting punished, yeah.
They're trying to create, like, a more of, like, an equal field between, like, I guess, the less influenced versus, like, the massively influenced. And it's like, the less influential could create one impactful post and it would, like, 10x outweigh the more influenced.
Yeah, because you got points deducted if you had too many posts about too many other things.
Yeah, so this Kaido, again, another infra provider, like, man, this is not easy.
Yeah.
Trying to devise, like, the right formula to support stuff like this.
I feel like it should be, it's not easy, but it should be simple. And the simplicity is in the fact that ton of followers, organic followers, plus value contribution, meaning tweets that are valuable, informational, should be enough to be like, this guy gets a lot of points. Because I feel I don't see why someone new coming up with valuable information but no followers, like, you get points, but you need to grow your follower account organically, not just, like, pump it.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, it just wasn't, like, perfect yet. So it's also being attributed to part of the demise, at least for now. But these are all things that can be worked on and potentially, reinvigorate some new juices into Loud itself. But what I'm looking for is other experimentations around leveraging Kaido as some sort of facet, not like the whole thing. I think that's the main takeaway. You can't have everything rooted to just like
attention
a
only.
social graph. Yeah. There's got to be more to it. I think that first tweet is right. You got to weaponize it. It's one of the weaponizable things that we've discovered this cycle, right? Not just the fees, but the social graph.
Yeah, and AI really helps mitigate like the difficulties in determining how many points does one user get versus another, and like assessing the value of a tweet itself.
Yeah, and that's Kaido's job, right? And Cookie and all those guys, and then they're gonna get better.
Yeah.
Right? So these tools will strengthen over time.
Yeah. So this article here has a ton of good suggestions for Kaido. All right. So moving on, what else is happening in the ecosystem that's leveraging internet capital markets?
Yeah.
And it looks like the Powerball is.
Yeah, it looks pretty familiar, dude. I see that like billboard every day on my way over here. It's the Powerball.
Is it a billion yet?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's not yet. We'd probably be hearing about it. Like,
yeah, we would.
Every time, right? It gets into the billions. Like, we just happen to hear about it. It's like, I guess we got to go play.
Yeah.
But this is a new conceptual version of the lottery, right? If you don't know what the Powerball is, what is the Powerball? You go to like a gas station, right? You get a Powerball ticket.
Yeah, you can also get tickets online too now.
Yeah, and essentially you either randomly generate some numbers or you can pick them yourself, I think.
Yep.
But there's 6 total numbers here. You have to get them all right in order to win the mega jackpot, right?
Yeah.
In the traditional Powerball sense. So in the new on-chain version of the lottery, all you simply need are these tokens, right? These coins that are being launched on Solana.
They're called Ball.
Yeah, Ball and Lotto. We're going to see here.
Yeah, there's another one coming up. But yeah, you get Ball. You need 10,000 Ball. And if you have 10,000 Ball, you're in the lottery.
And here it is. These are people who actually have been winning today. This is like brand new stuff. That's a lot of Solana, dude.
That's a lot, yes. We're talking about 15, 30, like 45 grand right there.
Yeah, and I think there's a big one. So there's been bigger ones. Look at that, 600.
Damn.
So these are not like insignificant winnings here, but if you're wondering, is there like some Robin Hood fella out there just slinging out free funds? No. This is all being generated through the trading activity of the Ball token.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's another iteration again on how do we weaponize trading fees to, create some new product experience or whatever, right?
Yeah. So do you remember what the fees were here?
5%.
Oh, it was 5%.
So
That's
it's
what it was.
getting higher, dude. It's getting higher. How high can we take it? I'm wondering.
You could go as high as you want. Allegedly,
like
yeah.
Meteor lets you just accelerate 99%.
I don't see why not.
I feel like 10% is like a top end barrier. At that point, people realize like, holy shit, I'm overspending on these swaps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it's higher because back in 2021, when like the main perpetrator of like swap fees wasn't the fee itself. It was the chain network congestion.
True. Yeah.
And that got to like
$600 per trade.
And we were like comfortable with that just because of the opportunity cost, right? It's like, I'm spending $500-$600 to do this swap, but I could lose out on 10-20 grand if I don't do it. So maybe 20-30% is that threshold. I don't know. Just thinking out loud.
Yeah, I think part of it too is the acknowledgement that the 20 or 30%, whatever the fee is, goes to a good cause, whether it's a creator, whether it's like a Powerball, it doesn't matter. It's like
a bigger lottery pool, yeah.
Yeah, it's just justifiable, right, to the swapper.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Powerball. So we have how to play. So set up your Solana wallet. You need 10,000 Ball. Wait for the draw.
That's it.
And that's it.
You don't even have to pick numbers, dude. It's just simply a buy and hold situation, and hope to God you get lucky.
Yeah. So how's that doing? Well, it's only a green candle, as I can tell here.
Do like an hour chart, hour perspective.
1 hour chart.
Okay, well it's definitely volatile. Jeez Louise. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously picking up traction. If you look at the volume, I mean 20-something million. Is that what it says? 28 million.
Yeah, 28.
It's not bad, dude. So out of that 28 million volume, that is where the 5% is being utilized to create a pool that's distributing.
And what's the time frame? Is it daily?
I think it's like
30 minutes?
hourly, I would say. I want to say.
Okay. All right, so we got ball. What about lotto, though?
Similar concept. I think every 30 minutes for this one, but with a daily jackpot. So,
Yeah, they have a daily jackpot, 16,000.
yeah. It looks a lot smaller, though, but I like these little widgets here. Kind of like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
these are the winners.
Yeah, so it's like much more frequent winner processing. But again, this thing is all completely rooted on how much volume can be generated from this token. So the fact that they're just essentially meme coins with no purpose, and again, kind of like what the Kaido experiment has proven, there's like not something at the end of it that the token is like really rooting you to believe in or whatever. There's no real product being slung here, I guess. I don't know. So maybe that's a contributor to why this isn't sustainable, right?
Yeah. So, but how is lottery doing? And still in the same. It's only up technology.
That's what you. Oh wow,
Whoa.
this one actually is only up tech, dude.
Wow.
At least for now. So, but be mindful, guys. Yeah, this is like a new experiment, and I like it because it's much more organic, right? There isn't like a lot of pre-hype to this. People are just like discovering it, including ourselves, right? But there's some sustainability concerns.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because what if people just stop trading the token? Now there's no more money in the pot.
Yeah, and as this next tweet outlines, there's some concerns as far as like holder distribution, right? Obviously, people who get in early, you don't have to spend these tokens to like enter into a lottery.
Yeah.
You just become holders. So, the higher the market cap goes, the bigger the friction for new entrants. So it's like the people at the beginning have the better probabilities. And the better
that would have been a much better design where you spend to get potential allocation for the lottery, a ticket, and that is volume. That's fees.
That's volume on the sell side too. Yeah.
Right, and then so if you don't win, you have to buy the tokens.
And then you got to buy them. Yeah, buy them again.
Yeah.
So that's more volume, right? That's a bigger pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
seems pretty straightforward.
Well, that's not how it is, right? So that's why it's probably going to work, but for X amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And that X is not a very
long
big integer. It's like maybe hours, maybe days. I'd be surprised if this like goes on for weeks, but nonetheless, this is what you call in crypto a Ponzi.
Yeah.
It's got very strong Ponzi-nomics, but who knows? Maybe somebody will iterate on something like some kind of improvement.
Yeah. So this guy's calling whoever created it a genius only because this is a Powerball ticket that you only have to buy once, which is part of the problem here.
Yeah, I think already somebody has like won twice. Like
really,
the same person already won the lottery twice. So like kind of proving that point, right? How unlikely that is. Well, I guess the pool participants are pretty small.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, damn. It's very good to be early to these types of things, right? So another thing that we can all be early to.
Music NFTs, dude.
No, not that. Scrap that, right?
Scrapping it? Yeah.
We talked about that last cycle.
Right.
And you hated that, right?
Yeah, I just didn't find it like a reasonable use case for having an asset that you can officially own on the blockchain tied to music. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, meaning it was like, I don't know, 1,000 copies of the same song.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess.
It's music. Everybody should listen to it, right? If it's good.
Well, it's like, what about art, though? Everybody should enjoy art, but you still, like,
own it, yeah.
You could still distribute art as collectible assets,
Yeah.
It's just the providence of owning something that's, like, resonating in the culture.
Yeah, I guess the value in music is the actual action of listening to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually being a hit, right? Like, that's pretty cool. But it didn't really pan out much, but there's something we're going to talk about here in the coming days or weeks is Doppler Protocol, which essentially is bringing a lot of these rails we're discussing that are native to Solana over onto the Ethereum eco side of thing using Uniswap hooks and such. So they're devising a new market here, essentially music speculative internet capital markets, right? Maybe we could fund musicians.
Yeah, why not?
Through these rails.
Yeah, why not? And Doppler Protocol just did an interview with Bankless. So I don't know. I haven't listened to that yet, but I will because I'm curious as to like what's cooking up over there.
Yeah, so this is the state of things. But yeah, we're going to keep you guys informed on what's coming up next. Doppler is becoming like a new player in town. If you want to know how like these rails are expanding to the rest of the crypto industry, it's happening in real time.
That's right.
But for a good reason, right? Like this is how you bootstrap viability in our industry in this day and age, right? And
yeah, that's the only viable thing so far.
Yeah, and the only successful product result of that so far has been meme coins, right?
Yeah.
But, what else can we successfully bootstrap? That's the big experiment. Right?
Everything.
Everything?
Yes.
Oh, Jesse was right, dude. Tokenize everything. Yeah.
All right, that's it for us. If we, I guess, have any questions, definitely put it in the comment section below. And if you found anything that you want us to talk about, also put it in the comment section. I appreciate you guys for watching, and we will catch you next video.
Peace.